Rifleman. Starring Chuck Connors.
It's hard to forget the image of the skilled shooting cowboy, Lucas McCain, in the famous Western television series The Rifleman, played by Chuck Connors. He is known for his unique career transformation journey in Hollywood, from an athlete with many outstanding achievements to an actor with exceptional talent. Because of this, Chuck Connors received more attention from many people, causing many difficulties in his personal life. Chuck Connors was born as Kevin Joseph Aloysius Connors on April 10, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York. His parents, Alan and Marcel Connors, were Irish immigrants who worked hard to provide for their family during the tough times of the Great Depression. Chuck's father worked as a longshoreman, and his mother took on small jobs to help make ends meet. Life wasn't easy, but it taught Chuck the value of hard work. He grew up in a working-class neighborhood, spending a lot of time playing sports at the Bay Ridge Boys Club. He loved baseball and dreamed of one day playing for the Brooklyn Dodgers. At 14, Chuck's life took a big turn. His talent for sports caught the attention of scouts, and he was offered an athletic scholarship to Adelphi Academy, a private high school in Brooklyn. This was a big opportunity for him, and he made the most of it. At Adelphi, he excelled in multiple sports: baseball, basketball, football, and even track. On the baseball field, Chuck was a strong first baseman, and in 1939, he was named one of the top high school players in Brooklyn. After graduating high school, Chuck had more than 25 colleges offering him athletic scholarships. He chose Seton Hall University in New Jersey, where he played both basketball and baseball. On the basketball court, he was a backup center, using his height and defense to help the team win. But it was baseball where he really stood out. In one memorable game in 1942, Chuck hit 2 home runs and had 6 RBIs, catching the attention of professional scouts. During this time, Chuck finally got the nickname he is known for. While playing first base, he would yell, "Chuck it to me!" and the name stuck. Chuck's college years were interrupted by World War II. In 1942, he joined the Army and trained at Fort Knox. Because of his height and athletic skills, he was chosen to be a tank warfare instructor. He later worked at West Point, training soldiers and even teaching famous football players who went on to win national championships. Despite being in the military, Chuck stayed close to sports. He played semi-professional baseball in Brooklyn during his free time and even played professional basketball in the American Basketball League. After serving 3 years in the Army, Chuck was honorably discharged in 1946. After leaving the Army, he joined the Boston Celtics during their very first season in 1946. Standing 6 feet 5 inches, he played as a forward and center. Connors played in 49 games that season, scoring an average of 4.5 points per game. His best game came on December 13, 1946, when he scored 15 points in a close win against the Providence Steamrollers. But his basketball career didn't last long. In February 1947, after just a few months with the Celtics, Connors left to chase another dream: baseball. On May 1, 1949, he got his big chance with the Brooklyn Dodgers, but it didn't start well. In his one and only game for the Dodgers, Connors hit into a double play, and the team lost. Instead of giving up, he worked hard in the minor leagues, playing for teams like the Montreal Royals. In 1951, he made it back to the majors with the Chicago Cubs. That season, he played 66 games and had some big moments. On July 18, 1951, he hit his first home run against the New York Giants. A month later, on August 26, he hit another one, also against the Giants. By the end of the season, Connors had 48 hits and a batting average of .239, not bad for someone who split his time between 2 sports. Chuck Connors' Hollywood story began in the most unexpected way. In 1952, he was playing baseball for the Los Angeles Angels, a minor league team. One sunny afternoon, during a game against the Sacramento Solons, something unusual happened. Chuck hit a massive home run. It wasn't just any home run, it cleared the fence and caught the attention of someone in the crowd, Billy Gordon, a casting director from MGM. Billy couldn't ignore Chuck's tall, strong frame and rugged face. After the game, he walked right into the locker room and handed Chuck his card, telling him, "You should think about acting." But Chuck didn't take it seriously. He was focused on baseball and didn't see himself as an actor. Then, just a couple of weeks later, Chuck hurt himself during a game. It wasn't serious, but it gave him time to think. Out of curiosity, he decided to visit MGM and see what this acting thing was about. To his surprise, they offered him a screen test right away. He gave it a shot, and they liked what they saw. Just 3 days later, Chuck signed his first Hollywood contract. That quick decision changed his life forever. His first role was in a movie called Pat and Mike, a romantic comedy starring two huge Hollywood stars, Spencer Tracy and Katharine Hepburn. Chuck's part was small. He played a police captain, but it was still a big moment for someone who had just started acting. On his first day of filming, Chuck was excited but nervous. He arrived early and spent hours getting ready. His scene didn't happen until late that night, but when the cameras finally rolled, he nailed it in just 2 takes. Spencer Tracy even pulled him aside after and told him, "You've got something, stick with it." Those words meant the world to Chuck and gave him the confidence to keep going. After that, Chuck dove headfirst into acting, taking on every role he could find, big or small. Between 1952 and 1958, he appeared in over 20 movies. One of his most memorable early roles was in Disney's Old Yeller, 1957, where he played Bernie Sanderson. The movie was a huge hit and helped Chuck get noticed even more. He also appeared in films like Trouble Along the Way with John Wayne and The Big Country, where he acted alongside Gregory Peck and Charlton Heston. Each role helped him improve as an actor and build his reputation. Chuck Connors became famous as Lucas McCain in The Rifleman, but it didn't happen right away. In 1957, Connors played a father in Disney's Old Yeller. The producers of The Rifleman saw his performance and thought he was perfect for their show. At first, Connors said no because the pay was less than what he earned doing other acting jobs. But the producers really wanted him, so they offered more money and even gave him 5% ownership of the show. That convinced him to take the role. Once Connors was cast, he started training to prepare. He practiced horseback riding and learned how to spin and shoot a rifle in a way that looked cool on camera. He worked with a gun expert named Rod Redwing to master the moves. Connors practiced so much that his hands got sore and blistered, but he didn't stop until he got it just right. The show premiered on September 30th, 1958, and people loved it immediately. Over 14 million viewers tuned in to see the first episode. Connors' character, Lucas McCain, was tough but also kind, especially with his son Mark, played by Johnny Crawford. The father-son bond became one of the most loved parts of the show. The show wasn't just about action, it focused on family. Lucas McCain was a widowed father raising his son alone in the Old West, something uncommon on TV at the time. The show often explored the challenges Lucas faced as both a father and a protector. The Rifleman became the 4th highest-rated show on TV in its first season, reaching 14.6 million households. After The Rifleman ended in 1963, Connors faced challenges breaking away from his Western hero image. However, he continued to work in television and film, proving his versatility. His most powerful performance came in 1977 when he played Tom Moore in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots. Chuck Connors' career was marked by diverse roles and compelling performances. In modern times, he portrayed a cruel plantation owner, a stark contrast to his past roles. His chilling performance highlighted the brutal realities of slavery without turning his character into a caricature. The show was a massive success, with its final episode watched by around 100 million viewers. His role earned him an Emmy nomination, a rare honor that underscored his ability to take on challenging and controversial characters. Later in his career, Connors appeared in B-movies and TV guest spots. One of his most memorable roles was in the 1979 horror film Tourist Trap, where he played Mr. Slay, a creepy museum owner surrounded by sinister mannequins. Though the film initially underperformed, it later became a cult classic. Connors also took on unusual roles, such as battling aliens in the low-budget sci-fi movie The Day Time Ended, 1980. On television, he appeared in popular shows like Fantasy Island, The Love Boat, and Murder, She Wrote. In the horror action series Werewolf, 1987 to 1988, he played the villain Janos Skorzeny, revealing a darker side of his acting abilities. Connors' personal life was filled with love, heartbreak, and drama, much like the characters he portrayed. His first marriage was to Elizabeth Jane Rell, or Betty, a model from Montreal, Canada. They met in 1948 during one of Connors' baseball games when he was playing for the Montreal Royals. Betty came from a wealthy family, and their romance moved quickly. They married on October 1, 1948, when Connors was 27 and still figuring out his career. Together, they had 4 sons, Michael, Jeffrey, Stephen, and Kevin. At first, their life seemed perfect, but as Connors' acting career took off, especially after landing The Rifleman in 1958, things began to fall apart. His long absences for filming and rumors of infidelity strained their marriage. In 1961, Betty discovered he was having an affair with an actress on set, which became the breaking point for her. She filed for divorce, finalized in 1962. Although they remained polite in public, it later emerged that Betty had threatened to expose his affairs unless Connors agreed to her terms during the divorce. The Rifleman premiered on September 30, 1958, and people loved it immediately. Over 14 million viewers tuned in to see the first episode. Connors' character, Lucas McCain, was tough but also kind, especially with his son Mark, played by Johnny Crawford. The father-son bond became one of the most loved parts of the show. The show wasn't just about action, it focused on family. Lucas McCain was a widowed father raising his son alone in the Old West, something uncommon on TV at the time. The show often explored the challenges Lucas faced as both a father and a protector. The Rifleman became the 4th highest-rated show on TV in its first season, reaching 14.6 million households. After The Rifleman ended in 1963, Connors faced challenges breaking away from his Western hero image. However, he continued to work in television and film, proving his versatility. His most powerful performance came in 1977 when he played Tom Moore in the groundbreaking miniseries Roots. Chuck Connors' career was marked by diverse roles and compelling performances. In modern times, he portrayed a cruel plantation owner, a stark contrast to his past roles. His chilling performance highlighted the brutal realities of slavery without turning his character into a caricature. The show was a massive success, with its final episode watched by around 100 million viewers. His role earned him an Emmy nomination, a rare honor. Connors' second marriage took place in 1963 when he wed Kamala Devi, an actress he met on the set of Geronimo. Kamala, born in Mumbai, India, had a mixed Indian and British heritage, making their marriage stand out in Hollywood, where interracial relationships were still rare. They worked together on many projects, including Branded and Cowboy in Africa, and people admired their strong connection on and off screen. However, their marriage was not always smooth. Kamala wanted Connors to take on more sophisticated roles, but he believed his rugged cowboy image was his greatest strength. Their differing career aspirations caused tension, and Connors' reputation for infidelity further strained the relationship. After 9 years together, they divorced in 1972. Their last film together, The Proud and the Damned, felt like a sad reflection of their crumbling marriage. Connors' third marriage was his shortest and most controversial. He met Faith Quabius on the set of Soylent Green in 1973, where she had a small role. Faith was 33 years younger than Connors. They married on September 7, 1977, in a private ceremony in Mexico. Connors, then 56, joked that they had played husband and wife on screen so much that they decided to make it real. However, their marriage only lasted 3 years, and they divorced in 1980. Later, Faith accused Connors of being abusive during their marriage, blaming his drinking for his behavior. Connors denied the allegations, but the claims hurt his public image. Throughout his life, Connors was plagued by rumors of affairs and tumultuous relationships. Even during his first marriage, whispers of infidelity followed him. One woman claimed she had a long-term affair with Connors in the 1960s and alleged that he fathered her child, though this was never proven. On set, Connors' flirtatious nature was well known, and actress Joan Crawford once remarked that he could charm the birds from the trees but couldn't stay loyal. His reputation even cost him professional opportunities, as some actresses refused to work with him. One infamous 1975 incident involved Connors being caught in a compromising situation with a young actress at a party. Though the scandal was hushed up, it reportedly cost him a major film role. His children from his first marriage spoke about how his lifestyle put a strain on their family. Jeffrey Connors later shared that his father always chased thrills, which affected everyone around him. Despite the controversies, Connors rarely addressed the rumors. Near the end of his life, he reflected, "I've lived my life on my own terms. Some might not approve, but I have no regrets." Connors' strong political views made him stand out in Hollywood. In 1967, when many in the industry opposed the Vietnam War, Connors joined a pro-war parade in New York City. Some praised him, while others criticized him. He was an active supporter of Republican candidates, especially Barry Goldwater during the 1964 presidential election, which hurt his career. However, Connors remained steadfast in his beliefs, saying, "I'd rather lose a job than give up my principles." In 1972, he was even asked to run for Congress but chose to stick with acting. The Vietnam War caused heated debates in Hollywood, but Connors never wavered in his support. He believed the war was necessary to fight communism and openly expressed this belief. In 1967, he marched in support of U.S. troops, stating, "We're fighting communism over there so we don't have to fight it here." This stance alienated him from many in Hollywood, and he even clashed with co-stars over it. While filming Soylent Green, he had a heated debate with Charlton Heston about the war. Connors also backed his words with actions, visiting Vietnam multiple times between 1968 and 1972. After the war, he was disheartened by how veterans were treated, saying, "They deserve parades, not protests." One of the most surprising aspects of Connors' career was his popularity in the Soviet Union during the Cold War. The Rifleman became one of the few American shows allowed on Soviet television. By 1973, around 250 million Soviets were watching the show. Even Soviet leader Leonid Brezhnev was a fan. During his visit to Washington, D.C., in 1973, Brezhnev requested to meet Connors. Their meeting led to an extraordinary event. Brezhnev invited Connors to Moscow, where he stayed for 2 weeks, receiving star treatment. Connors met Brezhnev at the Kremlin, and the two even had a playful gun-shooting contest with firearms Connors had gifted him. During the visit, Connors filmed the documentary titled Peace and Friendship, which aired on Soviet television, showcasing interactions between Americans and Soviets.